Let me mute this. All right. All right, here we go. All right, you guys hear me? Everybody's good?
Yep.
Episode, I lied last week. Episode number 77 of the Disruptive Faith podcast, where we're having honest and necessary conversations. Conversations that you might not be having at your local Sunday morning service. I want to host Tech along with
Greg Green
and
Jay Blunt.
What's going on, fellas?
I'm good. How are you?
Good.
Things.
Yeah.
Oh, Pastor Jay, I forgot. We got to find out what today is.
Oh, already?
I mean, not now, but, you know.
Yeah, I got you.
Pastor Green, how's your week going?
My week is going okay. I had just one of those rough days today, but my week ultimately was great. It was good.
Amen. Pastor Blunt, how was your day going, sir?
It was pretty good. My week was decent. Was going through a few adjustments in my life. Some dietary adjustments.
Amen.
Everything's cool. I delivered a painting today, so that was cool.
Hey.
And it felt good to do it. It was for a good cause or purpose, you know. So it always feels good to, you know, help somebody up or do something for someone. So it was good. And that's it, man. I've been cooking a lot, man.
Amen.
Cooking a lot, but all is well. All is well.
You guys inspire me. All right, Fred inspired me to do some work. You inspired me to change my life. Okay, I'm gonna pay. You know what? Because of you, I'm gonna pay my $90 Planet Fitness. Okay, I'm gonna give them the $90 they've been trying to give for me for the past 14 days. All right.
Where's Planet Fitness near you?
It's by my job.
A Bowie.
Yeah.
Got you.
It's like 7 minutes away.
Yeah, you good now.
And I'm going. I'm gonna go tomorrow. I'm gonna pay my bill, and I'm gonna say, point me to the nearest massage chair. And then after I get in a massage chair, we'll see what happens. All right, baby steps. Amen.
Amen.
Y'all ain't sound too supportive of my dream,
No,
but
believe it when I say it.
Yeah.
You know, God is good. All right. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope everybody's doing well. Let's get right into it. We're going to start with a hot take today, brought to us courtesy of Jason Blunt.
Oh my
gosh. And today's hot take is outside. Well, no. Oh, it's not really a hot take. It's a question. Outside, as a Christian, outside of defending yourself, is there ever a time that physical altercations are necessary?
Outside of defending yourself.
Yes. This comes from a great story.
I'm not going to tell this.
Okay. Just say,
good.
Jason changed the man's life. He would never forget. Not everybody wants to know. Okay, maybe I should have cleared it.
It's all good, man.
All right, sorry. All right, so now Jason has changed the man's life forever. But the question is there ever time outside of defending yourself that a physical altercation is necessary? That sounds too carnal.
Yeah, it sounds a little. Should have ran this one through the guys.
I know. This one should have been a surprise. I know. It sounded better in my head. It's like, this is great. All right, scratch that. Let's go to, if you're defending yourself or your family, I think that is a good one. Hold on, my phone's going crazy.
Yeah, that's what I was going to go. Your family.
All right, freak that.
So you trying to call me wrong?
No, I thought it was right because I thought he needed that.
I think a lot more of them needed.
Whatever times with the help. But anyway, all right, freak that. What are your 3 pet peeves instantly drive you to anger?
Instantly drive you to anger.
Let's start with Pastor Green. Tired of this malarkey. What are your top 3 pet peeves? How about this? What are your top 3 pet peeves from a stranger?
Well, this is a stranger or people I know.
Okay.
I hate passive aggressiveness.
Okay.
I hate just be straight up.
I'm sorry, Fred.
I hate passive aggressive. I really hate that. You caught me. I wasn't thinking that we're gonna do 3. Y'all want to come back to me?
Or whatever you have.
All right. So passive aggressive.
Right.
Someone who is. Yeah, y'all got to come back to me. I don't have a lot of pet peeves. That's
a very like patient guy. Okay.
That is my main one. Passive aggressive. I don't know why that instantly drives me to anger. I don't know if this is a pet peeve, but I hate when nobody addresses the elephant in the room. Like I don't know if that's like a pet. I don't know if you can put that in the category, but I hate.
Oh, that's interesting.
No, I really hate that. When people I'm in a relationship with, like if you have a beef with me and I know it, but you're just trying to preserve the relationship and not say nothing, I'm going to tell you like, hey, we got a problem, or if I have a problem with you, I don't like to sit with that. I'm going to tell you like, hey, we kind of, I felt this way about something. So, so I hate not addressing the elephant in the room. I hate that. And the last one, you know what? This is the last one. Tech do this a lot.
Oh my God!
Ooh, Tech!
He do this a lot. He do this a lot on accident. I don't know.
On accident? Oh my God!
And maybe as a man,
hate is a strong word.
I
know what you're gonna say. I
think it's a pet peeve. It's a pet peeve, but I hate when someone try to challenge my manhood. I hate when somebody say words to try to get a rise out of me.
I try to encourage you.
They will. They will.
Yeah, they will. Yeah. So,
not me. I just try to lift you up.
We've been in the basement a few times, and you kind of.
I prayed. We prayed. Amen.
Man, look,
this is malarkey.
I ain't gonna go into those stories. I ain't gonna put you on blast like
what's
that.
one
story? Put me on blast. Go.
I know I did.
All right, I'm gonna put a Tech on blast.
All right, I'm curious.
So you know this one because I called you right afterwards and I told you like, hey Tech, man, look, I had a dream I was punching you in the face. Like I
don't remember. Okay, I thought it was because of something else. But go ahead. Fred loves to talk about his dream. I'm gonna have a dream about. I was about to say. Okay, go ahead.
But I it was like you was telling me you were trying to help me out with the situation, right? A relational situation.
Yeah, you gotta give all the details.
Yeah. Okay.
I want names.
And I ain't giving no names. But you was right.
Say it again.
You was 100% right.
Amen. Dang. People should just listen to me.
It's the way you did it because when you sat, when you was telling me, you pulled up a seat right in front of my face.
I don't remember this.
You put your fist together like this.
That's not true. Fred is lying.
I am being honest. And you was
I grabbed the seat like Mr. Clark from Lean On Me.
I promise you did. I promise. And you looked me in the face and you was just like, gird up your loins. Like you said something to that. Right? And I'm sitting here like, and it took all that within me not to respond. But I did call you. I had a dream about fighting you, and then I called you, and we squashed it, and it was straight. But
I did not realize that's what it was to you. Like I always thought because I said some trumpet people weren't good.
Nah. Well, okay.
Some trumpet people weren't.
I know what you talk about.
You remember that? I thought it was that day.
No, it wasn't that day, but that tied into everything. Cause it's just the way it's the way that at the time it was the way that you were saying. I felt like you was trying to challenge my man.
I'm sorry. Okay.
Nah, I'm over it. You know what I'm saying?
I know what you need to do is. All right, hold on. Where's the camera?
Oh, you about to do it?
All right, Pastor Jason, what's your pet peeve?
Man, before I say that, I've been tried by Tech as well.
Oh my God.
But I let it go. I was so confused by being at the.
This is not true.
Hey, Tech, my story is 100% true.
This is not true. What you guys
I'm
about
not
to
going
hear
to tell.
is
I'm not
true.
going. You want me to tell you a story? All right, fine. I'll
It's
tell
not
it.
true.
So, no, I can't tell it. It's
Thank
so
you.
bad.
Katrina said,
People go ahead.
let's get this slander. Get away from this slander here.
It's coming right back.
I'm sorry. Okay, go ahead. Tell your false story.
Nah, let's go to. All right, so one day,
Oh my
he was on the
gosh.
train.
This is not
Right?
true. Okay.
I was on the train going home,
Love this story.
and
I hate this story. It's not true.
I'm a playful person. You know, I'm joking. I'm with my friend. I'm with my friend.
Yeah.
I am with my friend. Let's
This
keep going.
is
I'm
not-
with my friend.
Okay.
The important
Right?
part.
Okay.
Right? That's important. So he said something. I don't remember what was exchanged, but he went blacked out. Nah, I'm not going to keep going until you come back in.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, there we go. So we were going back and forth, right?
This is not true.
And I said, "Yo, mama," to his response. I was like, "Your mama," right? And he got mad and put his hand around my throat.
I did not do that.
And he was like,
do that.
"Don't talk about my mama." This is a grown man. This is an adult. This is a full-on adult. Put your camera back on so I can see.
I did not do that.
He was choking me on
This is like
the blue
8'8".
line. It was a blue
God.
line. We were sitting down. It was the blue line. I remember it clearly.
Oh man.
This
And so
never
I was
happened.
just thinking. This is what went through my head. I didn't attack him back.
Okay,
I didn't
amen.
hit
Praise
him.
God.
I was just
Jesus.
thinking. This is my thought to myself. I said, "I'm this guy's ride home."
And he definitely was. And this never happened, by the
I
way.
was like, "How is he going to get home?" That's all I kept thinking. I was like, "I got to take him home."
While he was being choked.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. I was like, "How could he be this stupid?"
This never happened. Okay,
This
never
happened.
happened. I have zero recollection of this.
He was so upset about his mama. I've never spoken ill about her ever. And here you go, right here, nephew Eric, love him. Don't talk about my mama. Don't talk about Tech's mom. Hey, let's hit up.
That never happened.
I forgave him though.
That never happened.
And I took him home.
Amen. Praise
a
God.
long ride home.
Praise
He
God,
never
man.
apologized.
I'm
It's been
sorry.
years.
This is not true, though. I
So,
don't receive this.
Look at this.
Don't be serious.
Do you see this?
I see it. I see
All
it.
right, this hot takes is canceled. Okay.
Wait. So my pet peeve. All right. So my pet peeve is I just don't like rudeness. Rudeness of any kind from people. Rudeness. I just don't like rudeness.
Yeah.
It really bothers me. Yeah, it makes me upset. People are rude. They feel like I forget the word. It's not audacity, but it's like where let's say you're in the store and people have the carts, right? And you're looking at something and they don't say excuse me. They just stand there and expect for you to move around them. I will stay in that spot forever. I will not move. You'll either have to say excuse me or go around me. But if you just stand there and act like I'm supposed to move for you and you don't use manners, I'm not going to move. I'll be in the store till it closes.
I'll be in the store till it closes. All right.
Yeah. So that's like all-encompassing. Rudeness, I don't like it.
I don't like lying. Amen?
Lying. Okay.
Amen. When people make up stories about stuff that didn't happen on trains. And me pulling up chairs.
You pulled up the chair.
All right, that never happened. Never pulled up a chair like Mr. Clark to rebuke Fred. These things never happen, okay?
You definitely had an aggressive streak in your life. I'm glad.
I had a streak where I was not
Same.
self-aware. Yes, I was very not self-aware. You guys helped me out a lot.
Oh, yeah. You could thank my neck.
Oh, my gosh. It never happened. All right, anyway, I would have to agree with Jason. I can't stand rudeness and Definitely from strangers, and I can't stand lying, like sicing. Like if we're having a disagreement, and if you are purposely over exaggerating just to prove a point, I can't. It takes me to nowhere. It's like it's like I don't know why it enrages me. It almost feels like something about it's just not fair. Like if I'm arguing with somebody about like I don't know, like I just don't. Yeah, I don't like people lying to prove a point. I feel like that happens definitely at like some of my older jobs, and it's just like, bruh, all right, so. But I think that's like rudeness. I think is my main pet peeve, and then but I have a delayed reaction. I've only had a immediate reaction one time with my wife, where I called some guy some name that wasn't Christian, but I didn't curse. I called him like a jerk or something. But normally
Malarkey.
I have malarkey.
That sounds like a lie.
Normally I have a delayed reaction because I don't. And this is bad. Sometimes I don't listen to people. So I just be like, oh, that's what's up. And so it doesn't click that what happened was rude until later. And I'm like, what? What the heck? And so, but that happens sometimes. But all right, let us know your pet peeves.
We got one if you want to hit it up. Are we good for one?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, since Katrina wrote hers, she said people ask her what race she is.
Oh,
she doesn't like that. We still don't know, but just don't ask her.
Oh my God! I'll tell you, we can find Jason.
Chew loudly,
the Glen Birdie.
Chewing loudly. That's a common
me.
one.
I
and
chew
then
loudly.
people who assume they know something about her. Yeah. Oh yeah. I don't like being blamed for things I didn't do. That's one that I really don't like.
Oh,
being accused of something. That one right there.
I'm about to accuse you of some stuff. Okay.
You go ahead, Sarah.
Hey, Jason, I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
I'm with you on that, man.
Yeah, I don't like being accused. And Aunt Rita said lying is the worst.
Lying is the worst. Cannot stand a lie. If you're wrong, you're wrong. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong.
Yeah, for sure.
But all right, I think that was good. Other than the impromptu, inappropriate, not really the will of God text slander. Not sure where that came from. You got to
wait till next week. I got another one.
You have to pray about that, okay? But all right. So before we go into our main topic, Pastor Jay, what is today?
All right, today is loading up. All right, so today is National. It says order your calendar now. All right, so today is National Matchmaker Day. So
hey, shout out to all the matchmakers.
Is that something you guys would go to a matchmaker? I don't know how I feel about matchmakers. It's like,
but matchmakers is like a website.
It could be, yeah. But before the websites, and even now, there are people who have a network of singles, and they link them up based on personality.
I would be a good matchmaker. Okay.
Today is also. You can't even match your socks, bro. So Good. National Diatomaceous Day.
Hey, I don't want that disease.
So apparently, diatoms are a single cell plant that are they produce 3/4 of the world's oxygen. So shout out to the diatoms.
Take some fresh air.
Did you look that up, Jason, or you do that off the top of your head?
Look that up. Look at him.
Come on, you know me.
God.
Today is also National Trail Mix Day.
Hey.
So shout out
Trail
to
Mix is actually really not as healthy for you as it
really is
advertised.
That's because it has I think it's the candy that's all in it.
Yeah.
Trail Mix was definitely
I like trail mix.
Major part of my family household back in the day.
Amen. I like my trail mix that tastes like candy.
Yeah, it's like little M&Ms in it, right?
Yeah, but I like when they put sugar on the peanuts, sugar on the pretzels. It's
I don't
basically
know if
like
you were eating trail mix, sir.
a little Slurpee mix.
Slurpee
It's
mix.
trail mix Slurpee flavor. All right. Anything else
And
today?
yeah, let me shout out a couple people. I want to shout out Toby.
Hey,
He got married. Shout out to Sarah Miller. She got married.
crazy.
I got a lot of marriages
This
coming up.
is
So I
the
just want to
season. Get married during Corona.
let's get married,
Mm.
right? So shout out to all those who have gotten engaged and married over the last
Amen.
month.
Love is in the
I just
What's
want
air.
to
up?
shout out everyone.
Amen.
Yeah. And that's it.
All right, praise God. The Short of Faith podcast. If this podcast has been a blessing to you, please take a second to share it with someone. And also, if you listen to this in podcast world, leave a review. It really does a lot to attack the Apple, Spotify gods and allow us to move up in the world. Amen. Amen. But let's get to our main topic. This whole week maybe about a month, not almost a month. We've been talking about mental health, different things for mental health. Last week we talked about, which actually helped me out a lot, about asking for help, the importance to ask for help. We talked about anxiety. So this week we are want to talk about letting go, the balance of what it means to let go. How do you let go? That could mean a bunch of different stuff for different people. And I kind of wanted to kind of talk about and look at, like, what does it mean to let go? Like, one of the things I want to try to get, I think we need to get away from the church is these broad statements that aren't really clear and have no action. So it's like, let go, let God.
That's all I got, buddy.
Awesome. Just turn it into a black box. All right. But it's like, like what does that mean? What is the process of letting go and letting God mean when when you're in great tragedy, and then when there's also great offense, because there's like a balance to it. When you experience great tragedy, maybe at some point, I don't know, like, do you ever let go? Like, or is letting go just one of those things that we just say? But I guess to dig into it, start with Pastor Green, because he's been in a streak of success.
No.
To you, Fred, what does it mean and what does it look like to let go if we're dealing with, like, tragedy, hurt, pain, or offense? What does it look like to you to let go?
I was hoping you would come to me first because I want to think about it a little bit more. But
You gotta stop. Every time you don't want to go first, you just gotta let it go.
Let go. Let go. Let go.
Got you. All right, my fault. So what does it look like to me? I think one thing of letting go is letting go of the obligation or letting go of the obligation of that person. And I'm speaking in terms of people. Letting go of the requirement or obligation of that person owing you something to a certain extent. I think a lot of times we kind of stay in the place of unforgiveness or hard to move forward or move on because we're waiting for we're waiting for something from that person that person will never give or not able to give or has passed on to where we don't get. So it's like you're holding on to that expectation of you owe me something for what you have taken or for what you have done to me. You owe me something. So I think letting go is not excusing or absolving that person from the responsibility or the consequences of whatever they have done. Because I believe that still exists. You can still demand justice. You can still demand, seek uh, justice or whatever you feel should be the consequences for what that person have done. But for within you and yourself, that um, letting go of that, I guess I don't know the right word to say, but you're not waiting on that person to give you something, and sometimes we don't know what that something is. Um, but it's just, I feel like, and I'll speak for myself. I think a lot of times I feel like that person owes me X, Y, and Z because they did X, Y, and Z,
Mm-hmm.
and with interest.
Mm-hmm.
And I think for me, it was letting go of that, like, you know what, you don't owe me anything. You don't owe me anything. So that's for me. That's what I think letting go looks like.
I didn't know question because I've heard this statement a couple of times.
Hmm.
What is the balance? I completely agree, but what is the balance of that? Like sometimes when it comes to, there was just another shooting, and so when it comes
Yeah.
to America and dealing with its injustices, a
Yeah.
lot of the retorts to black people is, "Hey, that was back in the day. That was slavery. You need to let that go." Like, what is that had to do? And even some, black people would come and say, "Hey, man, black people need to let go of slavery and about over that time and get over it." And what do you think is that balance of letting go, but still wanting or needing or I don't know if retribution is the right word, but still
Yeah.
needing correction or justice.
It's tough because I'm still navigating from a racial perspective and
Mm-hmm.
in the climate that we in recently. Like, I'm still walking that out myself. I'm still trying to figure out, um, and find that balance for myself. But just in the beginning stages of me processing it, I think that balance. I think that we could ask for justice and change, um, and demand that, and stand for that, and still not. And I feel like where letting go comes into place is that I'm not going to put I'm not going to put an entire race in a box to owe that race owes me something. So that individual, like, there are, I'm still walking through it, so I'm not 100% sure, but I think one way, in my understanding, the way I'm trying to look at it is just I can still ask for justice and still have love and compassion for other races, or not put myself in this me centered thing, or me against the world, or me against this race type of mentality. I think that, in my opinion, I think that's where, um, I think that's I don't know. I think for me, that comes from a place, if I that's coming from a place of I'm holding something that's not in its proper perspective. If I had the attitude of me against, if I live in a place of me against the world, if that makes sense, I think we could still ask for justice, and not ask for justice, demand justice, and look for change, but still not. I don't know. I hope that makes a little bit of sense.
Yeah, Pastor
Still
Jay, what does
navigating
it mean
myself.
to you to let go?
All right, when it comes to offense, like it usually I'm not usually offended. I won't say usually. I'm not usually offended.
Mm-hmm.
So in the case where is being offended getting your feelings hurt? That's not the same thing, right?
That's a good
Those
question.
Yeah, I
two are
mean,
different things.
That's kind of tough.
being offended, I think it could be. there was an offense against you. You were offended.
Yeah. All right. Okay. I'll give you an example. Here's an example. Um, I was doing a business deal with somebody. It was a huge deal, huge business deal. And after I helped the guy, I had a huge meeting. And after I helped this guy, I was representing his company. He didn't have anybody in his company that can do what I was doing. So I was doing business as, if that makes sense, as his company. I was a contractor for his company. After I helped this company, I we went through a series of meetings, et cetera, after it. And when it came to money and other things, he just trashed me.
Mm.
He called me out my name. He called me stupid. It
Oh
was
wow,
huge, right?
wow.
And I'm just trying to swallow this. Like he's like really, he's hurting me right now. Like and
Mm.
I believe I let it go. All right, so I let it go. I've forgiven him, but I have not forgotten, and I will not do business with him ever again.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
2, 3 months later, it came back around where someone was like, "Hey, can you just please help him out? We could really use your help." It's like, nah, I appreciate it, but no, thank you. So there's, I try to learn from not only my mistakes but mistakes others
Mm.
have. So even though I've let it go, it doesn't necessarily mean that things are back to normal or business as usual, because it's not necessarily that. I know I might be going off track, but that's how I usually handle offense,
Mm.
where I don't necessarily forget, you know, God, I guess he forgets if he chooses to. But I remember I'm not gonna count it or hold it against you where I will mistreat you. I'll still be kind, I'll still be myself,
Mm.
but I'm not going to I'll just move differently now. Now that I've learned, it is what it is. That's kind of how I handle offense where it
Mm-hmm.
comes to people.
So, if I can, I want to transition a little bit. How about when it comes to trauma? So, like, I know you guys have experienced great. I mean, we've all experienced great loss, but you guys experienced great loss. Like, uh, I don't know if letting go is the right word. Maybe move on, move forward. How do you keep moving forward when you have suffered like huge, devastating trauma? And what does that, and what does moving forward look like?
Mm-hmm.
You want to go first or you want me to go first?
You can take
All
it
right.
first if you're ready.
All right. So for me, I lost my mother in 2015. And to be honest, there were a lot of nights, like every once and again, I still cry. It's not about it not hurting, but if I'm honest, like it was tough. Even just speaking about her, like even now, it could kind of make me, maybe I might tear up a little bit, but it's um handling trauma is not something like on that level is not something I handle.
Mm.
It's something that I literally turn over.
Mm-hmm.
There are instances where we believe that, and we can handle levels of trauma, levels of hurt. But when it comes to something that traumatic, there's nothing that I could do in and of myself to handle the emotion, the hurt, the pain. There were days where I was driving, had the music going, and then a flood of emotions out of nowhere with just a single thought would come over me. I would literally have to pull my car on the side of the road with my family in the car and just like pray through the tears so I can just literally, like when people talk about moving forward, they talk about it figuratively. I'm talking about physically.
Mm.
I have to stop the car because I cannot move forward
Mm.
Yeah.
beyond that moment. So I've had to pray. My wife, she prayed for me, over me, and she felt the loss just as much as any of us. But it is literally something I had to turn over because I knew that it was too much for me to try to bear on my own. And I know that when people try to bear hurt and they grieve alone, that a lot of time I could see why people become suicidal. I could see why people become aggressive towards other people. I could see why people hurt themselves or abuse others. And it's just, it's not to make an excuse for it, because those things are super sad, but it's their frustrations and hurt going out or being released through the wrong channels. You know what I mean? But I can understand, having felt it, I can understand how easy it could be for someone to just be like, freak it, boom, I'm going to end it, in myself. And I get it. I get it. So, but I literally see it as, I knew it. Once I felt it and once I experienced it, like once it hit me, I knew as big as I am, I could not handle it on my own. It was too much. It brought me to my knees. I'm 6'8", over 300 pounds. Could not handle it.
It's interesting going back to last week. Do you think that moving forward is something that we automatically assume that we have to do alone? It's like, and I don't know. It's like, it's like you feel like you.
I think it's a part of your network.
Through this.
I think everyone's situation is different. I've been blessed. I think we've all been blessed to have a good network of people to help us. We have each other. We have family. We have other friends whom we can reach out to. But we've been blessed to have that situation. Not everyone does. Some people literally feel like they cannot talk to other people, or they don't have other people to talk to. A lot of people are surrounded by a lot of people. I know we mentioned this before, but really have no one that they can reach out to themselves. I think that's a bad assumption, to think that just because there are a lot of people around that people care about you personally, or that, you can talk to them, but that's definitely not the case. I see it a lot of times with young people. With like, I'm saying young people. I'm not, I'm still young.
Still young.
But a lot of times, like, how many of your friends from high school do you legit like talk to now? Right. A lot of times I see my kids and I'm like, I see the people they're hanging with, and you still calling home. I'm like, you're around 20 people right now, and you can't call nobody. You can't talk to none of the 19 people around you. Like, that's a problem. So I just, we've been blessed to do it, but, people don't always have someone. And I think that it is important for people to have someone. It doesn't have to be a big group. It just really needs to be one person. So I think that for those who are feeling lonely, lost, unloved, that you reach out, and you can reach out to one of us. Well, maybe not Eric, but reach out to
gosh.
Oh, you know you, man. I'm just messing with you.
You know you, man.
But you can reach out. You can reach out to any of us if you have no one, and you could definitely talk to us. We'll pray with you. We'll talk. We'll listen. You already said you don't listen to people, so I can't. It's on record. It's on the record.
I didn't mean like that.
It's on the record.
I'm not gonna be like, if you go,
all right, be a friend. I ain't even gonna do you like that. But anyway, if you need somebody talking, just reach out. We got you. We got you. There are people who are actually willing all around, and you never know unless you ask. That's one of those things where you can't be afraid of rejection. You can't be afraid
for
someone to say no, because you only need one. Just get that one and be brave enough to be vulnerable. But be very specific and strategic about whom you tell. Make sure you know their character. So that's super important.
Pastor Green, and moving forward from tragedy, like what does that look like? How was that process for you?
I think a lot of the things are exactly what Jason said. I think having a network, I know for me, can y'all still hear me? Hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I know for me, my family and my friends was key during that time when I lost my mom. It was just like everybody just pulled together, and it stood out to me because if that was the thing that helped me out the most. It wasn't, Jason probably could attest to this, and a lot of people probably could attest to this. Sometimes when you go through trauma or tragedy, definitely with losing someone, someone close to you, a lot of times people just feel like they got to fill up that empty space with words, and sometimes those words just don't, I'd rather
trying to hear it right now.
Yeah, I'm not trying to hear that right now. Like, don't don't tell me that right now. And I think what spoke to me the most was that it wasn't, I had those occurrences, but not necessarily, not with my family or my friends. My family we just got together. They were just there. They were just present. And I think a lot of times people outside of being able, as far as moving forward, I think it's important to have a community. Just to, in that community, can have the function of, I think a lot of times just having an ear is important. So you could be able to express what you're feeling. And I think a lot of times we carry, because we have nobody to talk to, so we carry that burden. But it's just something about when you're able to just get it off your chest. And it don't always, and for me, it don't always have to be for that person to give me something after I get off my chest. I just definitely with something like the passing my mom, I don't need you, definitely earlier on, I don't need you to give me a scripture. I don't need you to give me this. I just need you to be present so I could be able to feel like the scripture says, weep with those who weep. It's just like, I just need you to be present. I just need you to be here. So I think that's one thing. And then I think the other thing I wanted to say that I think is very important is just to experience what you're experiencing, to go through the process. I think sometimes we try to, I think a big part of moving forward, definitely with something like that, I think you have to experience what you're experiencing, the emotions. If you're feeling sad, feel sad. If you're feeling upset, feel upset. I think sometimes we try to mask that or cover it up or distract ourselves from it. I think it's so important to actually let that process happen. And what Jason was saying, which I think it's not something that, it's something that I forgot how you worded it, but you turn it over to, definitely turning it over to God, and not turning it over to God in like this superficial fake way, but truly be real and turn it over to God. So meaning, as I said earlier, when that process happens, you're going to be sad. When you turn it over to God, express the legitimate 100% of your sadness. If you're upset that day, when you turn it over to God, don't sit there and pray. Turn over your upset and how angry you are. Turn that over, because I think, and I say this all the time, I think sometimes we think that God can't handle our emotions, but He does. He's the best one that be able to handle your frustration, handle your sadness, handle the depths of your confusion and and just be able to just take it, right? And then not only that, but to truly comfort you. And the only one that could truly comfort you and to have something to say. If there's anybody that has something to say to, if you're angry and you're expressing this, if there's anybody that has something to say to you, is Jesus. So I think a lot of times when you do turn it over, because I agree, you definitely have to turn it over with something like trauma or losing someone. You have to make sure that you're transparent with whether it's people or whether it's God. You have to be 100% transparent. You have to feel those emotions. You can't fake, because I feel like when you fake and you just sweeping it under the rug, you're not really cleaning the room. You're just sweeping it under the rug, and the dirt is just still there. And I think that's I try to live my life with that mentality. I don't want to, if I'm truly doing a cleaning, if I truly want God to heal me, if I truly want to move forward, I want it to be clean. I don't want it to be like the appearance of
Mhm.
cleanliness. I want it. I want to expose everything as it is, so he could deal with the mess as it is and clean me up.
Is
Putting deodorant on those dirty underarms. I
There
hear
you
you,
go.
hey,
Fred. I hear you. That's
is
good.
there a point in time where you have to, and if so, how do you do it? But is there a point in time where you have to stop asking why? So I'm sure, like after something devastating like that happens,
Yeah.
there'll be a point in time
Yeah.
where you may be like maybe thoughts of like why, how. Is there a
Yeah.
point like? Do you remember the time when you begin to move from asking why?
I do. All right. So mine. I don't know. This is going to sound harsh, but it was my personal harsh reality.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, of course, when you lose someone you love, or when someone you love leaves Earth, if you say it like that,
Mm.
um, you have an attachment to them. You want them here. All of those things, you know. So a lot
Mm.
of your why has to do with you,
Mm.
you know,
Mm-hmm.
and why you've lost something. You
Mm-hmm.
understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
So my harsh come to Jesus moment
Mm.
was when I was asked why not.
Mm. Mm.
Like that was my moment. Like why not my mom?
Mm-hmm.
Because I think that like when people go through certain, she passed of pancreatic cancer,
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
and when you go through things, sometimes you go through things in life. I don't like you always look for a reason why you have that. Like even that goes to a reason. You know what I'm saying? Like you have a like let's say you have scoliosis, anything. You know,
Mm.
it's not cancer, but you're like, well, why did I have this? You know, what did I
Mm.
do or what someone? You're always looking for an excuse or a reason to point to. But
Mm.
when she passed, like I was like, my answer was like, why not her?
Mm.
There's children who die. There are children who die who don't get to live out, who don't get to make a huge impact. There are children who pass. Like people, I don't say people die every day, but they do, and it's unfortunate and it's sad. But
Mm.
she belonged to God from the beginning.
Mm.
And once I like that was my
Uh-oh.
why it was like it could be anybody. Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can
Yeah,
hear you
you
now.
froze for a quick
You
second,
Yeah,
but you
froze.
good now.
sorry.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyone. But I was my
Mm.
why not was more it was a more change to a perspective of how much she was able to make an impact in the on the earth while she was here. Like
Mm.
what was her impact?
Mm.
And to think that some people like we don't know our days, we don't know when we're going to live. So like how can we maximize whatever time we have here?
Mm.
And I felt like she really maximized her time here. So
Mm.
if that was her time and that's the amount of time that she was given, then to God be the glory.
Mm.
You know, we really don't know. But that was my harsh, you know, I know it sounds harsh, but that was really
Mm.
how it was for me. Like I really had to put her death into perspective to all death.
Mm.
Mm.
You know what I mean? There are babies who aren't even born
Yeah.
Mm.
who are cut short before that. Like I put that's what it was for me. And when I was able to do that or when it happened for me, I really didn't ask why anymore. It was just like, uh-oh, I gotta do something.
Mm.
See, why not? That's a serious question.
Mm.
Pastor Green, was there a time when you, after your mother passed, where you were focused on why it
I
happened and you had to move on past that?
I think what helped me. Uh, I think earlier on, yes. I think I kind of came to peace in a sense with it earlier on, strictly because of my mother. Because one of the things that I've I've learned through experiencing something like that was the sovereignty of God. And what I mean by that, and how I learned that through my mother, was that when she was sick, um, she she had her bad days, but she didn't turn. I watched her faith still through that journey.
Yeah.
Like she was still to the point to where she couldn't talk and couldn't really breathe on her own. And the only breath that she could be able to take, she would say Jesus. It was just this constant through that whole time. Like her life while she was healthy was about pursuing God and pursuing Jesus. But watching her go through adversity, and if there was in our human understanding to have a reason to ask for someone to be going through it and to ask why, but she didn't, and she went through that still excited and expressing her faith and her confidence in Jesus as she was sick.
Mm-hmm.
To me, that kind of helped me after she passed. To me, that kind of just really taught me the sovereignty of God, in the sense of, if she was sick and she was able to, quote unquote accept what was done and just still walk with Jesus Christ, then that, when after she passed, it kind of gave me that realization that I am not in control, but it's okay. I am not in control, but it is okay. And watching her was a true example of a life surrendered to Christ Jesus. Because I think sometimes we think about when we give our life to Christ and we surrender we say that with rainbows, but there are things that is going to come our way that is out of our control, that will throw us a curveball, and that will get us to a place of weakness. In that moment, do you still say, like my mother said, Jesus? In that moment, do you still glorify him? In that moment, when you're at your weakest, still use the strength that you do have to give glory to God. That to me was a lesson for me as far as the sovereignty of God, and that's why I live by that. I've been challenged on this, but I don't care. This is what I believe. It's just, God is in control. Really, God is in control, and you really do. When you give your life to Christ, you really do have to know that, and you have to know that in situations of trial. You really have to know that, and I think that's why if that makes sense, that's why I never. That kind of transition to why I never dived into the question of why. It was just, God is sovereign. God is sovereign. Like God is in control. But that's okay. Like everything is okay, because ultimately, everything is okay for my mom, and everything turned out to be okay for us, and everything will be okay. And so even in that tragic and that sad situation, God is still in control, and everything was truly okay.
It's interesting, because one of the other things I want to kind of tie this to, and there's so many thoughts going on in my brain, is also letting go and moving forward from our own unforgiveness with ourselves. Because I think even, we said this before. It was a quote I heard one time in therapy. It's like, anxiety is not being able when you're focusing too much on the future, and depression is when you're focusing too much on the past. And I think even though we're talking about, like, if someone offends you, even though we're talking about great loss and death, I think there are similar principles at work when it comes to what it takes to move forward. And one of the things I hear, and it just makes me think, well, I'm curious you guys' thoughts, is the idea of acceptance. And a lot of times as Christians, and this is a huge problem I have, huge problem I have. A lot of times as Christians, we don't want to accept what we don't like. Like if we don't like it, it's like I do not receive that. I say I don't receive that every day of my life. And sometimes it's good to not receive things. We shouldn't receive everything, but it's like if something is, and again, whatever. There's some Christians who cannot accept that, corona and you got to wear a mask or the inconvenience, and it's like they just want to ignore it or just be like, like I'm not going to take this time to attack John MacArthur, but you're going to say I'm still going to open my church. And so I think it's something about Christians because of our faith. It's not 100% bad, but it's like we don't want to accept certain realities. And there is a balance because we have faith. We know that this world is not our home, but it's like sometimes we don't accept, like even with dealing with anxiety, one of the things that is so hard to get used to is, and that has helped me, is to say, I accept and I allow these anxious feelings. Now that sounds very like anti-Christian, but anxiousness thrives on you fighting against it. Anxiousness thrives, it is built on you wrestling with it. The moment you say, I'm not gonna fight. This is how I feel. The moment it passes away, it feeds. So it's something about I just had to say it's something about acceptance that I think as Christians we haven't found that balance of where it comes of where faith, because I do think faith is reality, but it's like faith and reality. I feel like we struggle with what to accept and what not to accept. And when you don't accept things, that stops us from moving forward, if that makes sense. Pastor Jay, what do you think?
Man, I'm over here trying to do three things at once. But having a hard time accepting things, or put it in one simple question for me.
Like, do you think, what is the balance for us as Christians when it comes to accepting things that we might not like? That might not be the proper question.
Now, accepting things. I want to start breaking down your question.
Because like with loss, sometimes as believers, it's hard for us to accept that this is it. And that, we've lost, that we've experienced great loss. Sometimes as believers, even when it comes going back to the think of offense, it's hard to accept that this person is just not going to.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Sure. Good one. I thought you said lost, but I thought you said laws. It threw me off.
Oh, sorry.
Got
loss.
Got it. But good question. I believe, I mean, things are allowed, right? Mm-hmm. Things are allowed. God allows a lot of things. He's not the cause of it. But he allows a lot of things. And I accepting loss, accepting things. I just think that, I mean, you learn, you live, you learn. And I think that the less you try to handle yourself, the less you have to accept.
Break that down.
That's I think that's the simplest way. Like, it's not for me to necessarily accept, like, this is my life to walk through and walk out with help, if that makes sense. And so I think that, it's so much, like, I think life can be a lot easier if we just learn to not accept things necessarily, but to learn that a lot of the fights, a lot of struggles we have, we don't have to do them alone. We can do it with him, with his help.
Yeah.
I think it's just understanding the things that happen that people more so struggle with. But a lot of it is not even something we have to accept. It's just like, I don't say it is what it is, but sometimes it is.
Yeah, but it's like it's when I think about acceptance, even one of the things that I did want to touch on and kind of bring this around to is even sometimes we have unforgiveness toward ourselves.
Unforgiveness towards us.
And it's hard for us to move forward in life because we still have this grudge, this even loss in a way, loss of who we thought we were with ourselves, and we can't move forward. But it's like you have to accept what happened, what you did wrong, whatever, and then be able to move forward. One of the things in Lost that I remember is the dude Jack. His father told him this thing where he was like freaking out. I think he like was doing surgery and he hurt somebody. And it was still going on. He was trying to calm down his son. And one of the things he said is, you got 5 seconds to freak out, but after that 5 seconds, you need to stitches, whatever. So it's basically like, he's basically like, give yourself whatever amount of time to freak out, but you got to accept that you gotta do something about it. So I think there is a balance, because I'm not saying, let's say you get a report from the doctor, right? The doctor says, okay, you got cancer or some type of sickness. I'm not saying you need to accept that and be like, yeah, but I think you need to accept that is a potential reality, maybe. You know what I mean? Like, they're not. So there's this thing called, and I'm sorry, so many thoughts, like I said, go through my head. There's this thing called the ostrich effect.
Bury your head in the sand.
Yeah, where we feel like if we don't hear about it, it does not exist. So we just like, this is why people don't go to the doctor. This is why people don't do a lot of things, because it's like, if I don't hear about it, then somehow by not hearing about it, it doesn't exist. And so it's I'm still trying to, even in my own life, figure out that balance. As a believer, I don't think you should just accept everything that comes at you like, okay, this is what it is. But I think you need to accept that it's there. So if you get a report of a disease or something, instead of like, I don't know, just saying, okay, freak that, and then just living.
So let me clarify the one part I said then. I think that, all right, so as far as, this is just me talking.
Yeah.
So if I learn something that's about me or about my life or something concerning my life, I typically don't trip off of it. It's not about me not being, it's not that I'm nonchalant or that I am not upset or unbothered, but for me, it's like, okay, now what? So I think that the question that I would ask is, what do you want next? So I think your response to whatever the news is determined by what you want after. Do you want to move forward? Do you want to stop where you are? Do you want to keep going? You know what I mean? So depending on that, let's say for me, I want to get through it or get past it, right? Not past it like mentally, but get through it and deal with it. So what are my steps? I'm no longer dwelling on the it, but what the doing is to get rid of the it. So what do I have to do regarding that thing? So I'm done with the it. So let's say, for instance, if someone gets, let's say, some illness, God forbid. So if you get a report of illness, so, okay, cool, got it, straight. What is my response to it? So my goal is to respond to it, not to ignore it, not to pretend like it doesn't exist, or regardless, like, what is my response? What are my words going to say now? What are my actions going to say now? What are my prayers going to say now? You know, that's how I, you know, that's it for me.
Those are two powerful questions that you brought up, Pastor Jay, and definitely when it comes to moving forward, is why not and now what? I think that's two powerful things. I'm either making this up or I'm murdering this scripture, but there's some type of scripture where even going back to the why not, or I feel like Jesus, maybe somebody was blind. And I could be like mixing two scriptures up, but they're talking about like, what was this man? Why was this man born blind?
Oh yeah.
And I mean, and I think maybe that part goes to the now what he says, so that the kingdom, so that he basically said so God get the glory. But there was maybe when he was talking about the cities, there was some scripture where I feel like, and I don't know, Pastor Green, you're a PG theologian. It's somewhere where he was like, why not? Why shouldn't this happen? And I could just be making that up. I don't know, but I can't think of the scripture. But I think those two things that you mentioned are key. Like, why not? And now what? Like, you got to ask yourself. You have to deal with those two things, and that. I mean, that's not, like you guys have said, that's not something that happens instantly. It's not something you just, get up and say. It is a process, but I think, and I'm trying to keep it general with moving forward from anything, because a lot of things that I think sometimes does hold us down mentally can be this overplaying of situations that have happened that maybe we don't have control over, things about God that we don't understand, tragedies that have happened to us, difficulty that has happened, offenses, again, this idea of not being able to forgive ourselves. But I think even in all of that, those two questions still stand, which is why not and now what? So like go ahead, Pastor Joe.
No, I was thinking about Job as an example.
It might have been Job, yeah.
I don't know. You can't just jump onto my revelations, my brother.
Yeah, I'm just gonna what Jason said.
So no, I was just thinking about Job, and when we talked about the why not or the questioning, like, what did he do? Actually, he went through what he did because he was in good standing,
right.
Not because he was doing anything bad. And I think that's a perspective that none of us take. That this is going through because God needs to get something out of it versus something that I've done to deserve it. Like, how can God get the glory out of this?
Right. As
a perspective question to whatever negative things are happening in or around me. I think that'd turn a lot of things around there.
Right, yeah.
Because it takes the focus off of ourselves, one. It puts it back on him.
Bro.
And it changes the whole thing up. Like, all right, so how, literally, what am I going to do to help accentuate his greatness and magnify his goodness in my life? Like, what is that going to look like in this moment of supposed negativity? Like Job worshiped,
right.
Like, it's like when everyone else is saying and giving you the bad news and blues, oh, I'm so sorry that, I heard this or that. Like, that's powerful.
Yeah. And you just reminded me of something. And this I struggle with. I struggle with the reverse of this. I took it way too far. And that is, my whole life, I thought I was the main character. I thought I was like
you.
I don't. I can't say I don't receive it because I just said. But you know what I mean. I thought I was the main character of my own life. Like, this can't happen to me because God's going to do all these things with me, through me, but the moment I begin to realize, no, God is the main character in this whole story. You are a part of what God is doing. Great insight, but now I take it too far and I'm like, man, I'm not the main character. I get killed off anytime, now like, I take it too far. Now I'm like, wait a minute. Man. If this was Walking Dead, I used to think I was Rick Grimes. Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. That's what I say every morning. Do I got Corona? Why not? You could.
Oh, no. You can't go through like that.
I take it too far, but I think there is this idea that, and it sounds cool. I even seen some stuff that says it. This is like you're the main character of your life, which I guess is true. It's your life, but it is this entitlement that we can bring to life, that life owes us something. Yes. There's certain things can't happen to us because it just works like that for us, and it doesn't. We are all pieces into whatever weird thing that God is doing. Pastor Green, it looked like you got your Bible, so this is gonna be deep.
No, don't do that. Don't do that.
I got there we go. Adam gave us a scripture you were looking for in John 9:1-10. Jesus heals the man born blind.
Yeah, why was this man born blind?
Yeah, so that's what we found.
I know it was a
John
Christian.
9.
Thank you, Adam. I knew I was saved. All right, Pastor Green, speaking of another Christian.
No, I think one thing, like you guys were saying, like this entitlement that we walk with, it's crazy that we have that. If Jesus Christ himself wasn't exempt from hardship, like this, like he, and I think that's the beauty of the gospel. And I think that's a part that we miss, where it talks about one of the reasons why Jesus came and why God came down in flesh is so that he can identify with us, that we can come boldly to God and be able to express our hurts and pains. And instead of him being like this God that's so distant in heaven, say, I have no idea what you're talking about. But we have Jesus who said, I understand where he's coming from. I understand that emotion. I can navigate and help you through that. And I think that is so important to remember about. That's part of the work of the cross, part of the purpose of Jesus Christ, so that he may be able to identify with us. And part of that is our hurts, so that he may give us grace in a time of need, so that he may be able to help us when we need that help for like hardship times. That's why he suffered betrayal. That's why he suffered points of like, kind of like what we're discussing. I don't want this to happen to me. Where he experienced in the Garden of Gethsemane. And I think that's where we experience sometimes, is like when we know that there's something that we're going through, our cross, our hardships that we felt shouldn't be a part of our story, or it's too hard for us to endure. Like, why is this a part of our story? Just like Jesus, we do come to that place that we're asking God of like, God, like, what's up? What's up? But the purpose of Jesus is that he was sinless, and that the way he responded, nevertheless, is not my will. And that, I think that scripture where it talks about grace, giving us grace in time of need, that's what we're coming to him for. Is how, Jesus, you're able to identify with this pain I'm feeling. Maybe my friend can't, maybe my family can't, but if there's anybody that can experience what I'm experiencing, it's you. And not only that, if there is anybody that could teach me and help me to respond to this experience in a manner that is pleasing to you, that is also Jesus. And I think that part we really have to remember when we're going through, is just like, Like Jesus, Jesus is on the right hand of the Father interceding for us.
Do you
right
think
now.
we don't? Do you think we don't believe that? Like, as you were
Yeah.
talking, I know academically, okay, Jesus has been tempted, but I get tempted by some weird things, and it's hard for me to believe that Jesus would be tempted by the same weird, or even like something as weird. Like,
It might
has
be
Jesus,
kinds of things.
or yeah, or
The
same kinds of
overarching
things.
maybe.
Like, would Jesus want to put mumbo sauce on everything? Like, but to
But
think that he was, go ahead.
Good night, guys.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Fred. I'm sorry. But I mean, like, it's hard for me to believe. I mean, I know it, but do I believe it? And I think not believing it keeps us from going to God when we're in need.
I think sometimes we, I don't know, overthink the scripture, but going back to your example about the mumble sauce, why do you want to put mumble? I know you was joking.
It's delicious.
It's delicious, but I think never. I don't want to speak to the situation,
Okay.
but the overarching thing that may be, and I'm not saying you, but as a self-control thing.
Oh,
like,
man.
like
that's definitely me.
So it's not the mumble sauce, it's the self-control. And was Jesus tempted with self-control? Yes. I mean, so I think sometimes, like, I do agree with you. I think sometimes we make it too deep, or maybe we're not looking too much, or maybe we're not looking deep enough. I don't know which spectrum to fall on, but I think, because I think to think that this specific thing, have Jesus been tempted with this? I can't see him being tempted with this. Therefore, there's no grace for me here. There's no sense for me to come to him here. I don't think that's true. I think a lot of times, I think that scripture still applies. Jesus was tempted in all points. And I think it's just kind of looking at, what's behind the temptation. Why is it tempting you? What is that? So I think that speaks to that.
Help him, Fred.
Amen.
They're having his own personal
session. I need to change. I know, Fred. I'm sorry.
You know how ignorant that was.
What?
Well, what about mumbo sauce? Like, it's just
it's delicious, bro. I'm just saying. Jesus be like, manner.
Let me on a positive note.
Amen.
Let's go with a comment by Adam, who's filling it and helping us out in the comment section. Thank you so much. He says, the joy of the Christian is not that we have found the key to avoiding suffering, but that in suffering we have strength to endure a way by which we can overcome via the Holy Spirit, a comforter and purpose in our suffering, the glory of God. That's exactly right. I agree with you wholeheartedly and 100%.
That's what I was saying.
Boy, if you don't get your...
That's exactly what I was saying. Thank you, Adam. That was basically what I was saying, bro. But I think this has been good. This has been great. I think one of the hardest things to do, and it is something I guess really between you and God, but you have to, and that is move forward. Whether it is in offense, whether it is in tragedy, whether it is in self-forgiveness, even, we've been talking about resistance and talking about trying to do things that we know we could do. So many times some of the stuff that we don't do is because we maybe tell ourselves, man, you always do this, or you know what I mean? Or we may think of ourselves as the type of person who does this certain thing or doesn't do the certain thing.
Habits.
Yeah, based on our old behavior, but we need to be able to forgive ourselves, ask ourselves those key questions, even with my issues that I may have with myself. Why not? Why can't I still go? And then how do we move forward? Why not and what now? Even though I think Jason is extremely carnal, That's two powerful questions that I think that need to be asked when it comes to moving forward. So any closing thoughts, you guys? Do you have a cup that says "Mister"?
Yeah. You got the other one.
That was good. That was really good.
That was funny. That was funny.
All right. Well, thank you guys. You guys have been a blessing. Amen. Shout out to everyone in the comment section, Pastor Jay.
Oh yeah. Shout out to Katrina.
Over there gloating.
Shout out to I hear my wife laughing. It just got to her. Shout out to Rita. Aunt Rita. Thank you, Aunt Rita. Shout out to who else? They've been on. Shout out to Pastor Ritoya.
Hey.
Who popped in. Shout out to Aunt Vicky.
Hey, Aunt Vicky, what's up?
Yeah, Aunt Vicky. We got both aunts holding it down. And that's it for today. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and joining the conversation via the comment section. It is truly a blessing to be able to converse with you all, hear your thoughts and ideas on what's happening live. So thank you so much.
Hey, man, like we said a couple weeks ago, we had to do YouTube. Woo. What's that little burl of hay that goes?
Tumbleweed.
It's not the same without you guys. That's a blessing. If you listen to this in podcast world, again, and even if you listen to us now, if you think that someone can benefit from this conversation, it can help somebody, just take a second and share it with them. Pray that they'll be blessed. Don't forget to subscribe and review, okay? Amen? Because we're trying to get Jason an iPad. Amen? We'll see if he accepts it. He'll accept it. If we got you an iPad, you would accept it.
I would accept it.
If we were getting you an iPad, you would not accept it.
God be the glory.
Amen. All right. Operation Jason iPad is in effect. Amen. All right, you guys be blessed. Love you guys. Let me get ready to make sure I'm not lying. All right, and we are out. Hope you guys enjoyed that conversation. Let us know your thoughts below in the comment section. If you haven't subscribed already, hit that bell. Make sure you do so. If you want more conversation like these, go ahead and hit the video. Hope you guys are blessed. See you next time. Also, if you want, you can catch us on Spotify, Apple Music, and wherever you catch fine and great podcasts like these. All right, you take care. Be blessed.